afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. So, what were we discussing in my last class?
Completed Tamil literature.
Okay. So, we have discussed Sanskrit, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, right? So,
Malayalam
Malayalam,
also, sir.
yeah. So, we have finished all the South Indian languages, that is Dravidian languages. Now, let us discuss about North Indian languages. So, when it comes to North India, first of all, Hindi and Urdu both are very famous in many parts of the North India and in South India also. Urdu is famous. Hindu people we use Hindi, but they are not as popular as they are in South North India. That means here we have our mother language, mother tongue, and apart from that we also speak Telugu. Apart from that Hindi. Apart from that, some people also speak Urdu, English. But if you go to North India, Hindi is their mother tongue. In some places like Lucknow and Agra, you will see people also speak Urdu. Urdu is their mother tongue. So they are the most people speak in these languages. So let us first start our discussion with Urdu. So this Urdu, um, towards the end of 4th century, Urdu is identified or Urdu emerged as an independent language. So Arabic and Persian languages were introduced in India by the Turks or Mughals. Sorry, not Mughals, Mongols. People, as I said, while discussing culture, medieval Indian culture, I said people from Turkey, people from Mongolia, they started coming to India. With them, these languages, Persian and Arabic, came to India. So Persian, uh, frankly speaking, even though they were Muslims, they used Persian language or they considered Persian as their fourth language. Arabic was, to a great extent, a language which is used in religious matters. After Persian, people or kings used Urdu. And how this Urdu emerged as a language, it was because of the result. As I said, it is the mixture or confluence of different languages. Persian, Hindi, or Persian, Arabic, Hindi, Sanskrit, various languages. But mainly, we can say that people who wanted to rule India, the Turks or Mughals who entered India, they and their armies, they fought many wars, they conquered, they won the wars, and they have settled in India. Then the army or the soldiers who came to India, they were in their barracks. I would say they were living in their places and they were having some different interactions in different situations. Somebody raised a hand. 116. Yeah. 116. Do you have anything to say?
Muslim.
Okay. So the for various reasons, the soldiers have to interact with the local people. The local people were using different languages or language, and the people who came from Mongolia, Turkey, they were using a different language, that is Persian, and these people were using Hindi. So when these languages uh, mixed up, and there emerges a new language, that is Urdu. So you will see the script is somewhat like Persian, and the words are, and so when it comes to speaking, it's a mixed language. So this language as a Urdu, as I said, can be observed from 4th century AD. So who is the first person, or what is the first literary work that is available in Urdu? Let us first discuss its history. We have understood that language, as a language, this Urdu came into existence because of the combination of different languages, that is Hindi and Persian. Okay, this Hindi again has got influence of Sanskrit. So we can say, in other words, Sanskrit, Persian, Hindi, because of these languages comes from these languages comes a new language, that is Urdu. Before we discuss the about the person who actually contributed for this to this language, for the emergence of Urdu language, first let us understand that this Urdu, even though it was started in North India, actually people who contributed more for this the development of this language were the South Indians. There were four kingdoms, small kingdoms known as Bahmani kingdoms. They first started using this language, Urdu, as their court language. Then it got famous. People started using it. Then again, uh, after getting, I'm say after becoming a popular language among the people of Bahmani kingdom, like Ahmadnagar, Golconda, Bijapur, Berar, then the North Indian people have also started using the same language. Somewhere around uh, 12th, 14th, 12th or 13th century, in Agra, in Delhi, also people started using this language. By 15th, 16th century, the Mughals were almost using, of course, they were using Persian, but Urdu was their court language. They were giving utmost importance to Persian. People who can, who have the uh, command over the language, Persian language, were given very high importance in the society. But still, Urdu was being used. So the Hindi or the Urdu, which is used in South India, to be more specific, in the Bahmani states, that is Ahmednagar, Golconda, Bijapur, and Berar, is known as Dakkani Hindi, Dakkani language, Dakkani language. That is, it can be Dakkani Urdu or it can be Dakkani Hindi. Dakkan is southern. దక్షిణ అనే దాని నుంచి దక్కన్ అనే వర్డ్ వచ్చింది. Okay, so this is, as we have dialects in Hindi, we have dialects in Urdu also. The purest form of Urdu is, it is said that it is spoken in Lucknow, and you will find a different kind of Urdu, slightly different style, in Agra and Hyderabad. Dakkani Urdu is different. So, as I said, as we have Andhra Telugu, Telangana Telugu, Rayalaseema Telugu, in the same way we have divisions in Urdu also, or different dialects in Urdu, right? So, the yeah, when the Urdu became very famous or popular, then many of them, the Mughal kings have declared it as court language, and many of the poets who were there in the courts of those Mughal rulers, they also created literature in Urdu language only. But who is the first person? It is Amir Khusro who first, somewhere around in the mid of 13th century, he wrote. Uh, I don't remember his poetic work, but he started. He wrote first in Urdu. Even in the time of Balban, also he was there in the Balban's court. Also, Amir Khusro was working, and at that time also Urdu was the court language of Balban. And he said to have composed separate themes, around nine different kinds of poetry, or different verses of poetry, among which the famous one is Laila Majnu story. Yeah, the other one is Ain Akbari, Ain Sikandari, and not Ain Akbari, Ain Sikandari. So Ain Sikandari and Laila Majnu are the famous compositions of this Amir Khusro. Laila Majnu, you might have heard these names. They are the famous lovers in the literature. There are other couples like uh, Heer Ranja, Romeo Juliet, Laila Majnu. These Laila Majnu characters are created by Amir Khusro. Okay, so there are other famous poets in Urdu like Mirza Ghalib, Zauk, modern day Iqbal. This Muhammad Iqbal is very famous person. You might be knowing his um, Sare Jahan Se Acha Hindu Sita Hamara. This poem is actually written by Iqbal, Muhammad Iqbal. Have you ever heard this name, Muhammad Iqbal? Students, are you online?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then why don't you respond? I am asking you. Have you heard this name, Muhammad Iqbal?
No.
He is the person who you might have heard about this answer. You might have heard
Oh,
this poetry. सारे जहाँ से अच्छा हिंदुस्तां हमारा हम बुलबुले हैं इसकी एक गुलसिता हमारा. This is written by Iqbal, Muhammad Iqbal. He's also famous in Kakori and other incidents. So there are different writers in different time periods, and each writer, according to the time period or according to the as per the influences from the society and other things, they were, of course, any poet will get influenced by the society. So you will find the differences. That's right. You will find the differences uh, in the literature also. If you take medieval era, then people somewhere around 15, 16 centuries, then you will find people most of the times people, poets are writing about some religious ideas, expressing religious ideas in their literary works. If you go back again, then you will find people writing of different things like whatever they have observed in the nature or whatever uh, logic or mathematics or about celestial bodies, such things are available in the writings. Then after some time, as I said, if you come to modern era, then you'll find that poets are explaining their desire for freedom, self-rule, independence. So in Urdu also you'll find different things in different times. It depends on the poet's time period. So there are ghazals. Okay, ghazals are a kind of uh, songs, and there were other writers like famous writers like Mirza Ghalib and Maum, Bulle Shah, Waris Shah, Khalil Gibran. Khalil Gibran's Prophet is also very famous in Urdu. So there are many other writers who made this Urdu language rich, and moreover, it's not only the North Indians but South India also. People, there were many writers or many poets. Even Hindi cinema, Hindi movie industry also encouraged many of the writers. They were actually originally Urdu poets, but who started writing in Hindi. If you find and say, uh, you take any movie song, for example, a 50 years old, a 60 years old movie song, or 40 years, you will see that most of the words are Urdu words. And Qawwali, ghazals, songs, other novels, stories, all are there in Urdu also. But as I said, it depends on the time period. If you take medieval era, then you will find mostly people writing about religious ideas, religious beliefs. If you take modern era, you'll see people talking about freedom, independence. That's how the things are. Or if you can take modern day poets like Munshi Premchand, who is a well-known poet in Hindi, but he's also a writer in Urdu. Okay, so this is all about Urdu, and many of the Urdu and say many of the Nawabs of Lucknow, Nawabs of Hyderabad, they have encouraged Urdu. They have patronized Urdu, I should say. Slowly, it became quite popular. And now the situation is, even though the Urdu is emerged as a language in India, Pakistanis have started using this, or they have adapted this language as their state language. They don't like many things which are Indian, but they have accepted Urdu, which is actually originated in India. In India, you will see such wonderful things in history. So this is all about Urdu and its and say history and few uh, important poets and their poetry. Then coming to Hindi literature, it is also the language. At present, it is the language which is spoken by many people in India. This language, I'm saying Hindi as a language, we have discussed while discussing the medieval Indian culture that that Hindi, or you take any other regional language, was developed because of the efforts of Jain saints. Okay, so Jain saints, when they went to different places with an idea to, with an intention to spread their religious beliefs, spread their religious ideas, they have chosen a plan and say they try to express themselves in the vernacular or local languages, because of which the local languages or the vernacular languages have evolved or developed, I should say. So this Hindi also emerged as a language, okay, with the because of the efforts of these saints, Jain saints, and other religious gurus or leaders. So somewhere around 14th century, we can say that Hindi as a language has emerged somewhere around 14th century. Okay, and by this time, people started and say there was a observable decline in people who were speaking Sanskrit or who were using Sanskrit. So Hindi has taken its place. Bhakti movement has also contributed well for the development of this language. Bhakti saints, many of the Bhakti saints have uh, used a specific, I'm saying, use this language to express their ideas. Of course, many of them have used their own mother tongue. For example, if you take Alvars and Nainars, they have used Tamil. But if there is any writing which is really good, then people never hesitated to translate it into Hindi. For example, Anand Mat is somewhere around 1858, 1860s. It is written by, I forgot the name. Who wrote Anand Mat? It is Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. So it is originally written in Bengali, but people translated it into Hindi. Then it became very famous. It was the most read novel in those days, and people got inspired. Thousands, hundreds, I'd say hundreds, thousands, lakhs of people have they joined the freedom struggle when they read this Anand Mat. Do you know what is the famous song from Anand Mat? Vande Mataram song. Students, are you there on? I'm saying, are you online? Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
ఒక్కడే వింటున్నావా ఇంకెవరైనా ఉన్నారా? Okay, first let me take attendance. 61,
Yes, sir.
62,
Present, sir.
62. ఓకే 119 మీరు పాటలు పెట్టండి, అందరూ వింటారు, నేను క్లాస్ ఆపేస్తా కొంతసేపు. 119 ప్లీజ్ మీరు పాటలు పెట్టండి, కొంతసేపు అందరూ వింటారు, నేను క్లాస్
సారీ సార్, రెస్పాన్స్ ఇచ్చి మళ్ళీ అన్మ్యూట్ చేయలేదు సార్.
ఓకే, దేనికి రెస్పాన్స్ ఇచ్చారంటే?
వింటున్నారా అని అడిగారు కదా సార్, మర్చిపోయాను సార్.
ఓకే 62, 62 రోల్ నెంబర్. 63
Present, sir.
63 present. Okay, 64
Present, sir.
65
ప్రెజెంట్ సార్.
66
Present, sir.
67 68 69
Present, sir. Present, sir.
68 and 69 either present, huh?
Yes, sir. 69 present, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 70
68 present, sir.
okay. 70 71
71 present, sir.
72
70 present, sir.
73 74
74 present, sir.
75 76 77 78
Present, sir.
78 present. Okay. 79 80,
Present, sir. 80.
81,
Yes, sir.
82, 83,
Present, sir. 83.
84,
Present, sir. 84.
85,
Present, sir.
86, 87,
Present, sir.
88, 89,
Present, sir. 89.
90, 91, 92,
Present, sir.
91 or 90?
Present, sir.
Okay, 93,
Present,
90, 94, 95,
Present, sir.
96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103,
Present, sir.
103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109,
Present, sir.
110,
Present, sir. 110.
111, okay,
Present, sir.
112,
Present, sir.
113,
Present, sir.
114, 115, 114 and 115, 116,
Yes, sir.
117,
Present, sir.
118,
Present, sir.
119,
Yes, sir.
120, 120, okay, so only 119. So yeah, Hindi language, as any other language, is affected by the then conditions. In the same way, the then conditions of the society, in the same way Hindi language is also affected by the then conditions of the society. So you take different time periods, you will find different kinds of literary works. So if you take medieval era, somewhere around 14th century, 15th century, then Bhakti movement was spreading all over the society. So the literary works are also somewhat related to religious beliefs, religious ideas. In the same way, if you see a modern Hindi literature, then most of the literature modern India makes from 1858 to 1947, then you will see most of the literature is talking about the independence, freedom, all those things you'll understand. But who are the famous writers and what are their famous writings? You have a number of poets: Maithili Sharan Gupta, Harivamsh Rai Bachchan. Who is Harivamsh Rai Bachchan? Amitabh Bachchan's father was a famous poet. Maithili Sharan Gupta, Tripathi, some Maithili Sharan Gupta, some Tripathi. I'm just trying to recollect them. Like this, there are many poets, and their writings were also explaining the social conditions of their time. You will also find, for example, you take Kabir. He, even though he belongs to the medieval era, he wrote a non-religious thing, but like Vemana Shataka, that means he was saying some good things. He was conveying some good things through his poetic work. Rahim's Dohe or Kabir's Dohe. They explain as to what is good in the society, what is bad in the society. You can take, for example, Nandadasa. He was a Bhakti poet, so he was writing some kind of, and say, expressing religious ideas. Mirabai expressing religious ideas. So let it be any poet. His poetry will definitely reflect the conditions, but how the society was around him. So you will find different types of literature in different times, and of course there are some exceptions. Some people, even though they are in a different kind of society, but they, because of their ideas, their perceptions, they may write something different. And here in Hindi also we have different kinds of literary works, like we have uh, doha, we have poems, we have prose, we have poetry. For example, You take Ramcharitmanas. It's in a different, the grammar, Chandas is different. You take a novel, it's a prose, different. So different things. Okay. So during the last 150 years, you will find that is from almost from 1850s. You will find that many things have changed in India. So people like Rabindranath Tagore, who wrote Gitanjali in Bengali, he got Nobel Prize. Bharatendu Harishchandra, he wrote a drama. But these, many of these are actually, why am I, when I am discussing about Hindi, why am I not talking about other languages? Because as we have seen, when it comes to Telugu literature has started with a translation work. In the same way, in Hindi also, there are many writings which got translated and then got the name and fame. I've given you an example: Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's Anand Math, Gitanjali, originally written in some other language, but it got famous once it got translated into English. Right? So Bharatendu Harishchandra wrote, as I said, the earliest drama, the oldest drama in Hindi, Bharatendu Harishchandra. It is a translation of Sanskrit novel. Mahavir Prasad Dwivedi, another author who wrote translations, are, we can say, he read Sanskrit famous novels and other works and literary works in Sanskrit. Then he translated. It's a free translation, not exact translation, true translation. Okay. Swami Dayanand Saraswati, he wrote, and say, he was running a paper, fortnightly or some Satyartha Prakash, and there was a Satyartha Prakash a work in Hindi, which actually talked about as to what is Satya, what is the truth of Hindu religion. So his writings, his magazine, through these he made Hindi literature rich. Like that we have, as I said, Munshi Premchand, who wrote in Urdu and who wrote in Hindi also. Suryakant Tripathi Nirala, yeah, he is known as Nirala. Suryakant Tripathi Nirala. He wrote different kinds of literature. He produced different kind of literature. Madhavi Varma, first woman. Maithili Sharan Gupta, another person. Jaishankar Prasad. Like this, we have many people who made by their Hindi language, Hindi literature rich by their writings. Jaishankar Prasad, Maithili Sharan Gupta, Mahadevi Varma, these are really big names. So as I said, Bharatendu Harishchandra, Mahavir Prasad Dwivedi, Ramchandra Shukla, Shyam Sundar Das, Jaishankar Prasad, Maithili Sharan Gupta, anyhow I have named him. Dinkar, Ramdhari Singha Dinkar. Their contribution to Hindi poetry is really great. Ella Chandra Joshi wrote novels. Like this, you will find many. This is all about Hindi literature. So women, men and women equally contributed. We cannot say that they can't this kind of this part of the society has contributed less or this part of the society has contributed more. No, it's not like that. People have written many things on social evils, religious beliefs, non-religious ideas. There were some kavis, some poets who even received the highest civilian awards, like Padma Vibhushan. Right? So this is all about Urdu and Hindi. Coming to Bengali and Assami, other languages. Do we have any literature in them? Yes, we have. Let us first talk about Marathi. Marathi is, as I said again, Jainism and Buddhism. They because of these religions, you are seeing the development in these languages again. Earliest Marathi poetry and prose is written by some saint Jnaneshwar, who lived in 13th century. So again, most of the literatures, I would say literary works in different languages in India, you'll first in the beginning you will see some religious writings. Why? Because either they have started in medieval era or during the Bhakti movement or such thing, or else they are the translations. For example, you take 11th century Telugu language. Bhakti movement was not started by at that time, but we had Samskrita Mahabharatam, and people were trying to translate it into Telugu. That's how the Telugu literature began with a religious material. Same in Hindi also, sorry, in Marathi also. He wrote a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Jnaneshwar, Saint Jnaneshwar. With this has started. He also wrote many kirtans, bhajans. Then after him comes Namdev, very famous in Maharashtra. Gora. Gora is another saint. Janabi and another person. So they used to sing these songs in Marathi local language, and they have become very famous. Even today, people sing their songs on Vitobha, Vital, Krishna. Eknath Vatar was another famous poet from Marathi literature who lived in the 16th century. He wrote commentaries on Ramayana, Bhagavata. His songs were also very famous. So we have seen that Marathi as a language emerged, and many have contributed for the in making this language rich. Tukaram is another great poet, but he comes from the Bhakti era, this time period, 15th, 16th century, 17th century. Ramdas. It's not our Ramdas, Bhakta Ramdas of Bhadrachalam. It's not that. He's Ramdas, who was guru of Shivaji. Okay. He was, I'm saying, a devotee of Ram. That's why he got the name Ramdas. But he was having different and say, what should I say, as Chandragupta Maurya is the creation of Chanakya, in the same way Shivaji is the creation of Ramdas, you can say that. So there are many facets and say different ideas, different ideology. Apart from his bhakti, his devotion, worship, he also was very much interested in the society. So he made a king who could save his religion, culture. So this Marathi literature also has seen the same phases. During the Bhakti period, Bhakti or religious literature, people started writing religious literature. Then when the modern India or Indian people started producing national and so the literature which is in support of the national movement, like Balagangadhar Tilak's Kesari, a Marathi newspaper. Chiplamkar was another famous person. Keshav Sut, you will find on this name Keshav Memorial School and College here. Keshav Sut was another person. Harinarayan Apte, Agarkar, these are very popular names. H.G. Salgaonkar, he wrote inspirational poetry. M.G. Ranade, K.T. Telang. K.T. Telang is very famous. M.G. Ranade is also famous. So this is what is all about Marathi. Now what is in Bengal and say Bengali language? Actually this Bengali language and Bengali ideas, they were very famous in India. Why? Have you ever tried to guess as to why these are very famous? Because English people were they entered all the coastal cities first, like Madras, Bombay, Kolkata, and when they established themselves very well in the India, then they have introduced many things like railways, postal departments in the same way, printing press also. When the printing is introduced, press is introduced, then the literature, the ideas which were, as I before that, they there was a type of writing, but printing press has made it more easy. So when people have got this kind of advantage or a facility, then their ideas were printed and spread to different places, faraway places, very easily. Okay, and they have, as I said, and they have also got, because of this English education, they have also got access to Western 1 minute express. Yeah. So their ideas, their thoughts, they could spread it easily, and these ideas were reaching faraway places. Why? Because they were available in a printed format. Okay. So the Britishers also contributed in some areas. For example, uh, yeah, in Telugu you will find British people. Uh, they developed a dictionary. You even see observe that some British officers who are working as civil servants or IAS, of course in those days we don't call IAS, but it is ICS, Indian Civil Services. So ICS officers who were very much interested in this Telugu literature. For example, what is his name? Uh, I'm not getting his name, but I'll tell you. So what he did is he gathered all the poetry, Vemana Shataka. Yeah, so I was talking about Bengali literature. Yeah, so they even contributed in Telugu and say, compilation of the writings of Vemana Shataka. In the same way, in Bengali also, Britishers William Carvey, who wrote a grammar of Bengali and published in English Bengali, published an English Bengali dictionary. So he did both things like this. Uh, Directly or indirectly, they have contributed in many cases. So this made the language more rich and say enriched because of the dictionary and the grammar that is available. Then started other kinds of writing. As I said, Anand Math is available in Bengali. Then comes Rabindranath Tagore's Gitanjali and many other. The famous movie Devdas, which is very famous and super hit in those days, Telugu. is actually an original novel in Bengali, some Sharad Chandra's novel. So each and every language has got its own literature and poets, all those things. But you'll observe same things. That depending on the situations, depending on the time period, you will find that kind of literature in those languages. But somewhere it is Jainism which is contributed for the development of a language. For somewhere it is uh, Britishers, somewhere it is religion, somewhere it is kings, and their love to our affection towards a language. Okay, so like this, different things have happened, and different for different reasons, language have developed. Why? How can I say that the development of grammar or the preparing a dictionary will enrich the language? Because if you don't know how to write a word or what is the meaning of a word, where to use it, how to use it, all these things you can get information from a dictionary. If you have grammar, then it is standardized. So like this I would say introduction of press or the efforts of Britishers have also made the Bengali language rich. Okay, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar and Akshay Kumar Datta were the uh, writers in the early period, that is after the 18 before 1850s itself. They wrote different things in Bengali language. Bengalis, they were, as they were having access to English education, they even wrote in English also. For example, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he is a different person. He wrote his first book in Persian language, Farsi. He wrote in Bengali. He wrote in English, and especially because there was, and say people were having easy of access to English education. Especially in Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta, people have started education institutions, and because of the availability of printing press, they even published books, school books, college books, and some other religious books, which led to the free flow of information. R.C. Datta is another noted historian. He wrote uh, books and history books. I said Sharad Chandra, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. Even Swami Vivekananda and Subhash Chandra Bose are from Bengal. So there were critics, dramatists, novelists, poets. The Nobel Prize which Rabindranath Tagore won, he won for it Gitanjali. Gitanjali was actually written in Bengali. Okay, so this is about Bengali. Like Bengali, Assami also developed in response to Bhakti movement. A saint by name Shankar Deva introduced Vaishnavism, that is worship of Vishnu in Assam. And because of this, people started expressing their religious beliefs, Vaishnavism, in using Assamese language. That's how Assamese poetry or Assamese language is enriched. Puranas are translated. So the earliest literature that is available in Assam languages, Assamese, is the court chronicles. That means whatever has happened in the court of a king, they have recorded. Even if you go to Mewar, that is, I would say, Rajasthan, even today there are big royal families. You will find in their libraries, they have clearly written as to what kind of food they have taken on what date, who are the people who attended that lunch or dinner. So such accounts are there. In the same way, somebody has written it. They are known as Buranjis in Assamese, means court chronicles. Whatever has happened in the royal courts, they have recorded it. As I said, Shankar Dev wrote devotional poems. Okay, and There are other poets like uh, Lakshminath, then Gohen Baru. That every language will have, as I said, these kind of writers. But in some of the languages, because of the availability of facilities, are because they had access to Western education, you will find more kinds of different kinds of writings and more poets making the language rich. But in some other languages, because of their uh, say geographical conditions or various reasons, you will not find that much literature. Okay, Assam was a faraway place, and there was no development. That's why you will not find much literature there. But you still, I'm sure that we may not have recorded or written literature. Oral literature you can still find in many languages. In our Telugu speaking states, people have created Gidugu Ramurthy Pantulu. He did great research on the languages which doesn't have script. He even created script for Savaravasha. So people have done their efforts, but in some places it was fruitful and in other places it did not work. So Assamese literature, I have only few names: Lakshminath, as I said, then Padmanabha, Kohen Baru. From Orissa also we have a few poets like Fakir Mohan, Radhanath, then Upendra Banja. So different languages. This is all about the languages, North Indian, South Indian, but it's not the exhaustive list. Whatever I said is just a glimpse. Whatever I knew, I have, whatever information I could gather, I have gathered it and I have expressed it. So it's not the exhaustive list of our information about any language or the literature that is available in the language. I'm just, the intention is to just create an enthusiasm or awareness in you people. So these are the languages and this is how the literature is. And this is what the observations are, how the literature is and uh, why the trends have changed. Okay. So with this, we have completed successfully second unit. And I'm once again reiterating that for your second internal examination, I will be considering first unit and second unit. And I have uploaded the notes. So be prepared. In my next class, I'll start the third unit. That is religion and philosophy. Okay, students, and much of the topics we have already discussed. So religion and philosophy also will not take much time. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Right. So no doubts, nothing to ask. Shall I take attendance? "91, are you online?"
Yes, sir.
Okay, why you people are not responding, not answering my questions? I asked you, do you have any doubts? You can say yes or no. I asked you, shall I conclude the session? Students, I am asking you, this question is not to 91 alone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. దేనికి ఎస్ అండి? క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉన్నాయా అని అడిగాను, దానికి ఎస్సా? కంక్లూడ్ చేయాలా, సెషన్ ఎండ్ చేయాలా అని అడుగుతాను, దానికి ఎస్సా? దేనికి?
Section end చేయనిక సార్.
Okay, thank you class.